And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Come on, everybody. Here we go. It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Well, ahoy, mateys. It's time to put on your captain's caps, raise the anchor, and lower the sails, and listen to another episode of the Film Box Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Souza, joined by my lovely friends Sam and Connor, and this is the greatest movie podcast in the world. How you guys doing?
Doing good. You
Great.
You good with that intro, or you forgot my name?
Yeah. Well, the problem is I almost said me and Sam's name, so I almost said Sam and Aaron. I had to pause myself and say, what part of that is wrong? Oh, man. I was focused so hard on nailing the other part of the intro that then I realized, well, hey, what are you going to say the rest of the time?
Who else is here with me? Am I just talking to myself?
Can you imagine if it was like came out like years from now that you guys never existed and it was just all in my head?
It's just a schizo. Respectfully.
Yeah, and instead of doing anything meaningful, I decided to start a podcast about movies with my schizo mind.
It's like in The Office when they give Creed his own website, Creed Thoughts.
Yes, it's just a Word doc.
Word doc, yeah. That's what this is to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is my own Creed Thoughts. Well, welcome. We've got, this is the Summer of Fun, day 3, part 3, whatever you want to say. It's the third week of our Summer Spectacular, where we're reviewing movies that give us that summer vibe. This month, we've been doing movies with summer in the name, and so this week we're reviewing Summer Rental from 1980 something. 1986, 85. 85, I was close. But before we get into that, fellas, what have you been watching lately? What are you drinking? All that fun stuff. All right, I'll go first.
I always wait for Sam to
recording.
go. I don't want to step
We're
on his
recording
toes.
very early for...
Oh, I have to bring up Letterboxd, so...
It's like 7 a.m. for Sam. So it's not even, it's like 6:50. So it's all right. I'll go first. I'll go first. So I've seen 3 movies since the last time we recorded. I watched Hitman on Netflix, which was fucking great. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Richard Linklater is awesome. Glenn Powell is awesome. I was super into it. It was fun, refreshing, light, easy, super good. I followed that up with Am I Okay from Dakota Johnson. That was good. Actually, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. A bit more depressing, but it was good.
Especially after her last movie this year.
Oh, I know. I've got another one coming up to complete the trifecta.
Can only go up from there, so...
Yeah, well. And then Summer Rental for today's review. So those are the 3 movies I've watched this week.
Nice.
And I'm drinking water. I got water.
I'll go next. I have seen 4 movies. A little bit of a slower week for me. Started off with The Watchers, the horror movie by Inshana Night Shyamalan. Not that great, but first time directing, I will give her the benefit of the doubt. I watched Wonder with my girlfriend. Really cute, really heartfelt movie. I then watched Summer Rental for today. And then yesterday, when I was in the throes of a migraine, I doubled down on some Glenn Powell and Richard Linklater, and I watched Everybody Wants Some.
Ooh,
From
nice.
2016. Very good movie. I like that one a lot.
Nice. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's good. It's on Prime. You want?
Good to know.
All right, I guess it's my turn.
I guess.
The vibe. I love Sam's whole aura today. It's like we caught him in rare form.
Yep. I thought you watched Inside Out too, Connor.
Oh yeah, I forgot to
just
log
said
that.
Yeah, we were just talking about it.
Okay, sorry. I watched
Whoops.
Inside Out 2 as well with my girlfriend. Oh, you know what? I rated it. I didn't log it. I keep doing that. So I watched Inside Out 2.
Nice.
Really
There you
liked it
go.
a lot.
Any other ones that you missed?
Not that I know of.
All right. So before we get into what I've watched recently, I just want to say that in 2024, I've watched a total of 69 movies.
Nice.
Nice. Love that.
Okay, now now what I've actually been watching. I've also only watched 3 movies. I finally got around to see Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
Great. It's
Nice.
great. Well-deserved visual effects winner. And then I also watched Summer Rental. And then just last night we watched Inside Out 1 to prepare ourselves for
to
Inside Out
prepare.
2.
Of
That
course.
we're going to go
of course.
see tomorrow, so...
And I've seen Inside Out 2 today, so we've got like 3 days in a row. We got this down. I also want to mention too, I haven't seen a lot of movies because Em and I have been continuing our rewatch of Stranger Things. We're now on episode 2 of season 4. So if you didn't know, last week when we caught up, we were in the middle of season 2. So
God
we've
damn.
been hammering through. Yeah, we've been kind of smoking these episodes.
Yeah,
I will say- Oh, no, you go,
ahead.
Sam.
I was gonna say I've been lacking on the movies too because a bunch of TV shows just came out. So The
Yes.
Acolyte, it just came out.
Yep.
I've been watching that.
Yep, same.
The Boys season 4
That's
just came
what I've been
out, or
watching.
season 5 just came out.
Yeah, I did see the first 3 episodes of The Boys too.
Yeah.
And then actually House of the Dragon comes out tomorrow. So
I'll be busy. Yeah, no, I watched, I think yesterday I watched Summer Rental and then half an episode of The Boys and then the full 3rd episode of The Boys. So that was like a good solid 3 hours, 2.5 at least 3 hours of viewing.
And that show just sucks you right back in.
Oh, and then we watched Stranger Things after the Celtics decided to not play.
They did
We
it
don't
so
talk
they
about
can.
that.
They did it so they can win at home. That's all.
yeah, it's
Is there a
always what
rocket
they
ship
say.
going off next to you, Aaron?
Yeah, I don't know. What the hell was that? Someone is like starting up some power tools at my apartment or something. Jesus. And it sounded like the building was about to take off into space. Next thing you know, I'm gonna hear ignition fucking codes like 3, 2, lift off.
Your apartment's gonna get crushed by a fuel tank.
Yeah,
Got a blast.
Anyways, all right, we've got a game to play before we get into the review today. Connor, why don't you lead us through that?
Yeah, so Aaron introduced us to moviepyramid.io from the same people that made Movie Grid. It's been fun. I've been playing it a little off the pod as well. So we got one today. I'll just go through the categories beforehand because you can do that. We got a 2-word title nominated for Best Picture after 1963. Released from 2010 to 2024 for Ana de Armas. 1-word title for Chris Evans. And Christopher Walken and John Travolta. Now, I want to start here because this is
Yes.
Hairspray.
Pulp Fiction.
Hairspray.
Oh,
They played
Pulp Fiction as well.
They played a married couple in Hairspray.
Good call, because they were also in Pulp Fiction, but that was obviously going to be the higher one. Hello, cat. I have a cat now. Nope, there's the tail. Hi. Let's not do this right now.
Number
Okay.
one podcast for throwing casts.
Don't put that out in the world.
My hands are clean.
We don't throw cats.
Wow.
2-word title nominated for Best Picture. You could say Forrest Gump.
Do Forrest Gump. We could do The Fablemans from last year.
Ooh, I like that pick.
Do The Departed.
Oh, I like that pick too.
I feel like the more recent we go, because it doesn't have to win, it just has to be nominated.
Oh, I guess that's
Yeah.
true.
The better. Like we could do Poor Things. I feel like that would be
Poor
low.
Things is good. It could be low. I feel like we should get
Top
some like
500.
obscure ones. Like one obscure one. I have no idea.
Uh,
Now I can't think of any obscure. I can't think of any movies.
I can't think of anything from last year.
Oh, we could do Star Wars. Right, that was nominated for Best Picture.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the only one that got a nom. I believe it was.
Dude, we get an extra guess. So we could try it.
I want to say it was.
All right,
It
let's
didn't
try
win, but it.
It was. 1.9%.
Yep.
All right,
at that.
2010,
All right.
2024 for Ana de Armas. You could do War Dogs.
You could do like No Time to Die, War Dogs. She was in The Gray Man.
What was the one with her and Keanu Reeves?
That's the one I was trying to think of too.
I think it's called Knock
that's
Knock.
Yes, Knock Knock.
Is
I
it
believe that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
So I think Knives Out is gonna be high.
yeah,
I feel
I
like the
think
Great
Blade Runner might be high.
Blade Runner will probably be high.
do
yeah.
Blonde.
Oh God, don't remind me of that movie. That's probably going to be pretty low.
Oh, 18. No, it wasn't.
Oh wow. Okay.
Damn, we were doing good too.
Shocked. I know.
Chris Evans, one-word title.
This one's going to be a lot harder for me, at least.
Yeah, Chris Evans.
He did Snowpiercer.
Did he?
Snowpiercer. Yep, that's a good one.
And
Oh, wasn't there one with Ana de Armas that he just did? Ghosted.
we could
Oh!
do Ghosted.
That's a great pull.
I'm like, wait,
That's a
speaking
great
of Ana
pull.
de Armas. That just came out last year.
All right.
Heyo.
100% top 11. The most popular answers. We'll start from the bottom up. Poor Things, Forrest Gump, The Godfather, and Green Book. All at 5%.
I'm shocked.
For the Best Picture. For Ana de Armas, it was Knives Out, Blonde, and No Time to Die.
Wow, so we could have done Blade Runner.
We could have. Should have.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's on me. For Chris Evans, one word, we have Avengers and Snowpiercer. And as Aaron called, Pulp Fiction was the number one Travolta walk-in collab.
Damn.
So good job,
Nice.
fellas.
Yeah, good job. Cool. All right. Well, now it's time for our review. We'll get right into it.
No waste any time.
So, like I said, yeah, we don't have to waste any time. But what I will do,
Let's waste some time.
transition. No. So we're reviewing Summer Rental. Connor, tell us what this movie's about.
So, John Candy is about to face the most devastating experience known to man. The family vacation. Jack Chester, an overworked air traffic controller, takes his family on a vacation to the beach. Things immediately start to go wrong for the Chesters and steadily get worse. Jack ends up in a feud with a local yachtsman and has to race him to regain his pride and family's respect.
All right. So this movie stars obviously John Candy and Richard Crenna with supporting roles from Rip Torn, Karen Austin, Cary Green, John Larroquette, Joey Lawrence, Aubergine, and a bunch of other people. Directed by Carl Reiner, who, if you don't know Carl Reiner, you should. He's very prominent. He's got 11 Emmy Awards, which is wild. He was a television comedy guy in the early years of television and comedy. Frequently collaborated with Mel Brooks, created the Dick Van Dyke Show, all that stuff. Collaborated with Brooks on a bunch of movies like It's a Mad World. Yeah, that's the right amount of mads. The Russians Are Coming. And also, if you like the Ocean series, which I love the Ocean series, he was Saul, the old guy. He played Saul, which was, I didn't know, and I'm super about it. And then obviously directed Summer Rental. So, came full circle. This movie was produced by George Shapiro, who was mostly known for being a talent manager who represented Carl Reiner and Jerry Seinfeld and Andy Kaufman, and he was producer for Seinfeld. And then it was written by Mark Reisman and Jeremy Stevens, who do not have Wikipedia pages, so sorry, don't know what you've done.
Whap, whap.
Whap, whap. This movie was released August 9th, 1985, with a runtime of 87 minutes. Don't know the budget here, but it made $24.6 million at the box office. So, in 1985, that's not bad. Not bad. I'm sure I could find the hold on. Let me see if I can grab if there's any info on.
Well, the first thing that
budget.
came up when I googled summer rental budget is budget car rental.
Nice. All
Free
right.
upgrade with 35% off.
I will say I did use budget when I was in Florida for my car
Nice.
rental. They did not give me any sort of promo code, so I'm not promoting it.
All right. Non-sponsored.
No free ads. Bleep it out.
Yep. Beep. All right. I'll just do. This will be my beep. Ready? Just Dune. All right, Sam. Why don't you get us through the reviews? See what people think about this movie.
Yeah. So the critics and the audience was very split on this movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, our good old friend RT, the tomato meter, the critics gave this a 17%.
All right.
Not fresh. And then the audience score gave this a 52%. So still not great, but better than the critics gave it. So
Yeah.
and then it was kind of, so on Google there was literally only like 4 reviews, and they were all 4-star. So
Wow.
so I got a couple of Rotten Tomatoes scores. So this one gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It follows the same template as National Lampoon's Vacation, The Trip from Hell, where everything possibly and impossible will go wrong happens. Honestly, I don't see what this seems to be getting the hate. John Candy is great, the plot is basic but works. There's nothing that I can see the overly sensitive crowd would be needlessly offended by. True, there are some character issues, and the villain is like a one note. That note is sob asshole. But as a whole, it works and is very good. Way better than you might hear.
All right.
And then
Sure. We'll see if we agree with that. When we get into this.
And then this one I found was pretty funny. This is from like a Washington Post top critic. Quote, Summer Rental is the kind of movie that could make you wish you had poison ivy. At least the scratching would occupy your mind.
Oh God. Damn.
Yeah, so
Ruin them, Washington Post.
yeah, a lot of this wasn't a great movie according to the Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. So
That's all right. We'll see if we agree with that. Are you guys ready to get into this review?
Sure.
yes.
All right. Let's do it. Connor, bring us
Okay.
to this movie.
All right.
Also, a linear movie for once, by the way. An actual linear movie.
Well, so was
yeah.
Wet Hot American Summer.
Well,
It was.
it was.
All right. So, overworked air traffic controller Jack Chester is given a 5 weeks paid leave as an alternative to being fired after nearly causing a mid-air collision on the job and having an outburst over a fly covering a radar blip. He uses this time to take off his wife, Sandy, and his children.
Wait, what?
He's using the time to take off his wife.
Boys, I'm struggling. He uses this time off to take his wife, Sandy,
There you go.
and children Jennifer, Bobby, and Lori on a summer vacation from Atlanta to the fictional Gulf Coast resort town of Citrus Cove, Florida, where they are beset by a barrage of problems. I'll keep going or stop for a bit.
No, we can stop here. I honestly, when the movie started, I was into it. I liked the opening.
Yeah.
Especially because, and it'll be a theme throughout the movie, I think, is they basically said, "Hey, John Candy, just do your thing, man. Just do it, and we'll get you on camera." So he's out there living his best life, and
This is his worst life. I mean,
yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, it's funny. I like the fly when the fly's on the screen. He's like, "I can't see you. Where are you?"
like Jack.
He's just like screaming.
It's like it's a fly. Which, in everyone else's defense, I feel like you should see a fly when your screen is green and white.
100%, 100%.
I did like
Especially if you're used to like looking at that screen every
Yeah.
single day.
For 15 years.
yeah. I like that a lot of the bad things that happened to him weren't like cartoonishly bad. Like just kind of going through his morning, he's like, fuck, I'm late. And then his son tries to make him like an egg, like some hard-boiled eggs, which first off, he's eating them in the car. You got to total the car after that.
Horrible idea.
There's no getting that stank out.
Oh, no.
But,
Oh.
that him just cracking the raw egg on his on his car and then just being like, number one podcast for throwing cats. When he cracks the raw egg on his car, he's like, you know what? That's on me. Should have told him to cook it.
I love that part. He's like, yeah, that's on me.
You know what? My fault. Hand up.
I do like too that Jack, he, like you said, it's not like over the top, the things that go wrong. And he's also not a bad, like he loves his family and he's just, he's just a workaholic who's never taken a vacation. And right from the get-go, it's just like, he doesn't get angry like, oh, fucking my stupid son. God damn, like he's just like, yeah,
It's not like, I hate my wife.
that's on me. Yeah, no, right. It's just, he's just there. And I like that. They don't try and make him like overly like cartoonish of a guy.
It's like if you took what's his name? I just had it. If you made
Someone.
if you made come on.
But yeah.
He'll get there.
Give me a second.
Just give him a minute.
Just give me a second.
Give him a minute.
It's like it's like if you took Chris Farley and just made him like 50% more serious.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. You took out the slapstick, like the physical comedy, and you just made him like real. I mean, they're very similar.
Yeah, but you didn't make all the jokes like, look at this fat guy. Look at how he can't do things.
Yep. I also, when he gets forced to take a vacation and he's like, they're like packing the car and he's got a fucking U-Haul?
Yeah. For a week's long vacation.
A vacation.
5 weeks.
Or
Which
5 weeks vacation.
oh, was it? Yeah, but still, like I don't know.
that's an absurd amount of time.
That's a
off.
lot of stuff that
I
it
feel
is
like,
an absurd amount of time off.
I feel like you just take like a week's worth of clothes and then just wash them. I'm not packing.
Yeah, right.
Especially
I'm
if
not-
you're gonna be at like a house or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On a beach house
Even if it's
too.
even if it's the wrong house, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, just wash. Half the things you're bringing are like bathing suits and like beach toys, which you could just get there and then just leave them. But
Yeah.
I do
know.
wish they kind of expanded on his job in a little bit more, or like showed him like why he's such a workaholic.
Yeah.
Like almost like
Yeah,
it's like, oh, his boss is like a hard ass or whatnot, or he's just
I think
like
there's-
if something happened to him like before that, like he has to make up. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because like I think that's a recurring theme that we'll talk about with this movie of like it's like here is the plot, and we are not going to talk about anything that happens before or after the plot.
yeah,
I do like this is the part of the movie too. They get to this house. It's beautiful house, and the neighbors are just looking at them, and the dog just starts barking at them.
yeah.
And he's just like, man, he only does that when he really likes people. I'll tell you what, whatever. And the dog's still barking. He's like, all right, come on, come in the house. And he's still barking. He's like, all right, man, they must really like you. And he's still barking. He's like, wow, he's.
I do like
inside.
Get your ass inside.
when he's in the backyard with the neighbors, the different neighbors, and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
like he said whatever, and then he's like, oh, like I'm Jack, and they're like, I'm trying to eat in peace. He's like, I see. Well, maybe I'll come over and I'll have some lobster with you. Just kidding, unless.
And they just stared at him. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna leave. All right, let's move to the next section, I think.
All right. They are first bumped out of line of an upscale seafood restaurant in favor of arrogant local sailing champion Al Pellet, who becomes Jack's main nemesis. This leads them to dining at a pirate ship-themed restaurant called the Barnacle, run by Scully. The family then misreads the address, moves into the wrong house, and are forced to leave in the middle of the night, ending up in a decrepit shack on a public beach with a constant stream of beachgoers passing through to get to its beach access, and its landlord being in the ICU. What? Keep going?
Sick. Yeah, no, we can stop here.
Okay.
The restaurant is probably my favorite scene in the movie. Because this is after, I mean, the timeline of the summary is a little bit off, but they've moved into the house at this point.
beautiful.
Jack gets wicked sunburn.
Oh, yeah. As someone,
Yeah, he gets his roaring sunburn.
as someone who got burned to a crisp before, like as bad as he did, like he had the night terrors of him just like it's real. Everything hurts and you're just
Relatable.
you're just in a shitty mood for the rest of like your life.
Yeah. That's why one of the things I don't like about I don't like falling asleep at the beach or outside where the sun's blazing, because I know it's gonna happen. It's like I try my best not to fall asleep. But he gets to this restaurant, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, oh, he's just there in line, whatever. He's admiring the lobster, and then all of a sudden they're like, sir, and he's like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm not in line. I just wanted to see my food. I don't want to. I am a big hungry man, whatever. And he walks out, and the line goes out the door around down the street. And I'm like, there's no way that they're getting food. There's no chance.
That's one of my notes I had. I'm like, I would not wait in that line for
Oh,
that long.
no.
I think it ended up
Are you
being
kidding?
2 hours. He said.
Yeah.
Because
They waited in line for 2 hours.
They made the point when they had to go to the Barnacle. It's like, oh, this is the only place that's open. And in my notes, I had, it would have been nice to cut that 2 hour wait time and just go to a new restaurant.
Yep. Absolutely. But they don't, and they get in line, and of course, right when they're about to get a table for 5, in walks out Pellet. He's like, yeah, I'm a 7-time boating champion. Give me my table. And they're like, yes, Mr. Pellet. Yeah, hey, see?
Yeah, she. And they take all the lobsters.
Yeah, he follows him to the table, and he's just pounding on it like, that's my lobster! Just like throwing a full-on temper tantrum.
I like to, because he's like, oh, that was my table. And he's like, oh, this is your table? Those are your lobsters? This is your wife? And he just like shoves his wife.
Yeah.
I know.
I was like, whoa.
There's some really good bits in this movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not every joke hits, but some of them, man, they really... I was dying. He starts pounding on the table, and then the guy pounds back. He's like, no, it's not! It's just so stupid.
Just two babies in adult bodies.
Yep, literally. And I think, too, it works because John Candy just has this ability to he's wicked funny. Like, John Candy is one of the funniest comedic actors to ever do it. But he's also an actual really good actor, like, underneath the surface. But he commits 100% to everything he does. So, like, a movie like this, where it's just literally they put the camera on John Candy and said, all right, do your thing. I mean, it's perfect for him. Mm-hmm. It works great. And I loved it. I think that made the movie just so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not everything he said had to be a joke. Or something at his expense.
Right. So then they go to the Barnacle, which, I mean, saw that coming. I knew as soon as they got in that line that they were gonna have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, everything had already been going wrong.
Yep. And so they get to the Barnacle. It's totally empty. If it were me, I would just not eat there. I'd be like, nah,
Just go get groceries. Just go to McDonald's. There's gotta be
yeah, right.
something's open 24/7.
We'll get a good dinner to the next. You're there for 5 weeks. What are you gonna do? Not eat dinner? Mm-hmm. Like, you'll just get a good dinner the next day.
Yeah. So this is the part too where they get kicked out of their house because they were at Beach Lane and they needed to be on Beach Road or vice versa. And I do like how, like, as they're moving out, the real family is just sitting there watching them, and he like leaves, and then he just walks right back in. He's like, oh, forgot my sunburn powder. And everyone's like,
daughter.
oh, yeah, he's like, oh, he's right. He's like, it's okay. And he just walks down with his daughter, and he's like, oh, forgot her too. and then she's just like, Daddy, I peed my bed. And he's like, no, you peed their bed.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was good.
He's so funny.
One thing I didn't get was, like, how do they get into the house so easily, but the actual owners struggled to get into the house?
I think because they probably took the key. Point. The key was in the mailbox, and they probably took the key. So they were like, shit, like, why is our key gone? Which I put in my notes. Yeah. If people are just leaving their keys in their mailbox, no wonder, like, serial killers were like,
yeah, you deserve to get broken into.
I must have missed that part, but
especially
it was the 80s, so
yeah, fair. But, like, if you're gonna live in a tourist trap in Florida in the dead of summer on the beach, and you're just like, yeah, we're gonna whatever. And this is like a recurring theme too in this movie. There's no way that someone doesn't walk into your house like, this must be an open house.
Yeah. I
especially if you're gonna leave it unlocked or leave the key, like, in a very obvious area.
Mm-hmm. I thought they were, like, a little rude because they were, like, in someone else's house.
Yeah,
technically, but
yeah,
I did like to see how he's like, no, this is our house. I have the receipt right here. And as soon as he's, like, told wrong, he's like, oh, sorry, we are on our way.
He's got the statue. This must be yours.
Yeah.
Hands it to him. Oh man. But, like, that is it again. Going back to what you said at the beginning, all of these situations, they're not over the top. Like, yeah, going to the wrong house, sure, that's a little over the top, but it's not unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, you know, it's not like they did something absolutely nuts. They went to Beach Road instead of Beach Lane or whatever it was.
Happens. This is before, like, GPS, like, was on people's
Right.
phones, and you would know
Yeah.
if you were in the wrong place.
Right. So, you know, it's not, it's one thing I do appreciate about the movie is that, like, a lot of it's not over the top. It's not, like, fantastical. It's whatever. It's, you know, real shit. Real scenarios that could actually happen.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was funny, too, when they do move into the decrepit little house. Right next door is, like, the lifeguards. Just, like, pouring out, like, the beefcakes.
Yep.
He's like, oh, no.
And the daughter's instantly like, hey.
And he's like, what are you, naked? Was it a nude beach? As he's talking to the...
He's just wearing a bikini.
Yeah.
He's like, fucking nude beach?
Yeah.
I love they're in the new house and they're just trying to eat breakfast. And all the people start walking by, and the big fat guy just starts staring in the window for no reason. He's just staring. He's like, and just starts walking. And like, if it were me, if I were John Candy, I would have gone out right away, and be like, "Hey, what are you doing here?
Let's go pound for pound right now."
Yeah, when he went out, he's like, all right, what's this? And then the guy just burps and just points to the sign. He's like,
oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. And they try and, you know, contact the guy. The landlord's in the ICU. I could have cared less about all of it. I mean, they paid for this place. They're gonna just live there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need anything with the landlord. That was kind of over the top.
Yeah.
I think it plays. I mean,
It's a setup.
it plays an important role, and it's a setup. Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah, they didn't hammer
all right,
too
let's-
much into it.
No, they didn't. Admittedly.
Moving on. When Jack attempts to take Bobby sailing, he suffers a leg injury from a collision with Al that prevents him from spending time with his family, who befriend Don Moore and his son Greg, as Jack also meets his neighbors, the Sanders. As Jack hasn't sailed for many years, he befriends Scully, who volunteers to help. After the rental's original landlord dies, Al assumes the role, and Jack gives him a check for $1,000 to cover the rent for the next 2 weeks. Al spitefully tears up the check and orders him to have his family leave the house when their first 2 weeks expire, threatening to personally toss them out if they should fail. Jack informs his family of this, much to their dismay. To avoid early eviction, Jack challenges Al to a race at the upcoming Citrus Cove Regatta. If Al wins, Jack will pay him the $1,000 and leave. But if Jack wins, he keeps the money and earns the right to stay in the house for 2 additional weeks rent-free. Al scoffs at the notion that Jack could defeat him in a race, but accepts the challenge anyway.
What's weird to me is that, a couple things. Jack takes his son out sailing, and he knows how to sail. It's obvious that he knows how to sail, at least a little bit, you know. And they have the whole accident with the boat, which was funny. Mm-hmm. Busts his leg up, gets pissed at each other or whatever. It's like, oh, you're the guy from the restaurant. Mm-hmm. But then after he goes back to learn how to sail with Scully, he's like, I don't know how to sail.
Yeah.
I did when I was a kid. It's like, you just took your kid out on the water.
Yeah.
You were just there.
You're either a liar or a horrible father.
I know. He's like, yeah, I'll figure it out. I don't need lessons. I know how to sail.
Listen, I the boat go forward, boat's on the water. I think I'm good.
Yeah, right. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it might be skipping ahead a bit with whatever you guys might want to say, but the funeral for the landlord, when Al is trying to sign for the lease, and he's like trying to write on the dead guy, and he's like,
Yeah.
Screw this. He just shuts the coffin so he can sign it.
Well, and then first that woman, he's like, they're talking, and the woman just busts into his way.
She's trying to mourn this guy, and he's like, "Excuse me, I'm not done
He's like,
here."
"Excuse me, I'm trying to do business here. I'm trying to relax. You know who I am? I'm Al Pellet."
You dumb bastard! I would have bought this. Now you're just giving it to me for free.
Seven-time champion.
I'm 7-time champion Al Pellet.
Al Pellet.
You know who I am? I've been here for 30 years. This bet that they make, probably the worst bet in the world.
God, yeah.
Honestly.
Oh my god!
He's like, I'll tell you what, I'll make a bet with you. If I win, I get to stay. If you win, I give you $1,000 and leave.
Well, no.
He's like, okay.
It was like, I'm only gonna stay for 2 weeks. Why?
Yeah, right.
Why
There's
two?
no stakes to it.
Yeah,
Just my family's here for 5 weeks. I'll gladly pay for that last week of rent. However, the 2 weeks in between, I will not pay. I just say,
It's just the lowest of the low stakes. I mean, what happens if he loses? He goes back home and they'll just go somewhere else. He's got 5 weeks of vacation. They could just go somewhere else.
yeah. They live in Atlanta. They could do something else.
Right. They could just
Go to a Braves game.
else. Exactly. And then if Jack miraculously wins this race, he just gets to stay there for 2 more weeks and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whoa, buddy.
Like, you should have bet for the property.
I was gonna say you should have bet for the house. Actually,
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, if I
right.
win,
That's what I
I'm
was
the
saying.
new landlord.
If I win, I own you now.
Yeah.
Actually, that's how this works.
Honestly, I would have done that, and then immediately after I left, I would have been like, "Do you want to buy it? I'll sell it."
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
Is
So-
this,
it's just
This is the part where like all the people have the party at the house and stuff.
yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And
Oh
when
my
he goes
God.
next door and has
The
a
old lady.
one-on-one time with
The Sanders. They're talking and she's like buttering him up or whatever, and she's all of a sudden she's like, "So what do you think of these?"
What do you think of these yabos?
And he's like, what?
and
My
the husband
favorite part,
walks in.
though-
He's like,
Yeah.
feel them.
Honey,
Oh,
I
yeah.
promise you they're fine. Jack, feel them. Suck on them.
You're doing me a favor. You're doing
Please.
me a favor. You just please feel them.
I could have bought a saw for this money. So tell me they're worth it. But I do like that's a recurring thing. Like, she just goes to everyone.
Yeah.
She's like, "Are these fine?" And everyone has the exact same reaction. They're like, "Yep," and walks away.
Yep.
And then
And the husband is
Yeah.
always like, "Oh, honey,
I
I
said
told you they're fine."
They're perfect.
I like at the race, like she's going around, and the husband's like, "Come on, let's go show the crowd." She's like, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Oh man,
What
there's
I-
some
what
really
else-
good recurring.
I also want to
bits.
bring that up is that this movie is rated PG, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of like swear words and other raunchiness going on in this movie
Yup.
for it to be PG. In my
for
opinion,
PG. Like I could understand PG-13, but yeah, no, it's wild.
Well, I
The
think
ratings back then were wild.
I was gonna say I think it was just the older ratings because Indiana Jones is PG, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of like stuff with that. So
There's literally people getting shot and dying in that.
hearts getting ripped out.
Yeah.
I will say I noted 45 minutes in, and we have no plot yet. They are just
Oh,
here.
absolutely not.
Like, the ending happens
Except-
so fast.
I mean, this movie's only an hour 20 minutes. There's nothing. I mean, I honestly, I kind of like, yeah, there was no plot, but we'll see it, as we start to talk a little bit more. This movie goes from vacation plot to now it's all about sailing and who's going to win this race for the back half of the movie. I preferred the first half a lot more. It just devolved into a movie about sailing, and I was like, why? We didn't need this.
Yeah. I mean, I get it makes sense that, like, they were like, "Oh, 7-time champion, no one can beat me." So he's gonna take it to them, but and I think it was like 50 minutes in when they finally have like that confrontation, like, all right, I'll race you for like my stay. And I was like, could we have not done this a bit sooner?
Yeah, right. We could have. If this is how the movie was going to be, we need to get to that sooner.
Yeah.
Or just commit to, like, I would have preferred it if it was either a movie fully about sailing right from the get-go, or if it was a movie fully about the wacky family vacation.
Yeah, go more like national vacation.
Spent more
or national
right,
Lampoon.
and the family spent more time together. They went to some wacky places. They had these scenarios, and the family became closer because of it, kind of thing. But they kind of chose this weird middle ground where it's like the family really kind of just abandoned Jack for a lot of the vacation.
Yeah, well, I mean, he kind of abandoned them too when he was like
he did
training.
too, right? Yeah, but then also it is like they're going on the fun trips that we don't get to see, and Jack's just here learning how to sail
Again.
It was like, all right, again,
Feeling fake
redo.
boobs, so...
Yeah, and
Yeah.
feeling fake boobs. So do we want to talk about the training stuff? Because it's kind of like in between.
Yeah, we could talk about it.
Yeah, I like it. I think Scully becomes one of my favorite characters in this section of the film. It's like, obviously it's wicked late
Yeah.
in the movie, but I think he's funny.
I think the actual training is kind of lame. It's just shots of them on a boat, not really talking.
Yeah.
And when they do talk, it's like nothing that is helpful to the boat. It's like, you know why they all boats have like a female's name? It's because you gotta treat them gently. He's like, oh, I never thought of that.
Now I know how to sail now.
Now I'm a master sailor.
Yeah, that part is a little wild. But again, they probably looked at it and said, man, we wrote this movie about sailing, and
We have yet to sail.
my God, that shit's kind of boring, guys.
Yeah. No, they should have like crashed a couple times, at least to sell the point. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
he's actually kind of bad.
Yeah,
Or
right.
or make that first crash into Al's boat like, okay, he just lost all of his confidence in sailing. Do something where
Yeah, it
it's
was
like,
just like this weird. I don't know. I honestly don't think they needed the sailing stuff at all. But
I agree.
all right, let's move to the last section here.
Yep. So the finale, the Borchesters come to life by helping Jack, Scully, and the Sanders refurbish the Barnacle, while Scully's subordinate Angus finds the right size sails and helps them make it seaworthy. On the day of the race, the Barnacle is at first no match for Al or anybody else in the race, but tossing useless garbage overboard, a strong breeze, and Jack's large pair of pants enable the Barnacle to achieve a victory against the pellet at sea.
Yay!
And that's literally where the movie ends.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Yeah, can we talk before we talk about anything else? That I noticed it was literally like, yeah, we won the race, great job. It was like it felt like a Sopranos ending almost.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get to see anything that happened afterwards. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, they won the race, woohoo, yeah, woohoo, and cut, scene, done.
Yeah, nothing about
Put
like
it out to production.
Al like getting his comeuppance other ways, like Jack getting his table instead because he won. Anything that would have just kind of like let the point sink in.
No, they were like, we're done here.
They won. Good.
They didn't
Cut.
even get off the water.
No.
They didn't even get out of the water. They literally, like, they won the race, and, like, John Candy looked at the camera and was like, yeah! And then they cut.
Yeah.
But before all of that, obviously, they renovate this boat, the Barnacle, which is a restaurant, which is, like, a recurring thing for people. Like, isn't that a restaurant?
We're losing to a restaurant.
I love Angus. Angus comes out of nowhere. He's hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't. For when he first popped up, I'm like, did I miss him at any other point in this movie?
No.
And I was like, I kind of just scrolled back and I was like, oh, no. He's just new. He's new.
Yeah, no, he just literally, he was not in the movie, and then all of a sudden he was a prominent piece of the movie.
Yeah. I like Cortez a lot. The other worker they had.
The Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hanging out with his daughter. And they're like
Yep.
learning English together, basically.
It's very funny.
I did think it was dumb that they win because they just had so much junk on the boat before, and they're like, oh, why do we have a fridge here?
I know.
Let's just toss it overboard.
Yeah, it's
like, come on.
That was a plot device for sure.
That's probably one of the first things you do.
Yeah. And no one went down below deck to see that. Like, you're telling me not a single person, when they were getting ready to sail, went like, hey, look at all this stuff that's still in here. We should probably get that out.
Mm-hmm. Well, because Jack was down there to paint, which I did like the montage of them, like, getting the boat already, but it's like Jack's down there painting. And he didn't just, like, stop and be like, you know, maybe the boat will be faster if we didn't have a stove, a dishwasher, a sink, all this stuff weighing us down.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, this is kind of the point in the movie where I realized I really did not care for any of Jack's family, like, at all.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from his daughter, who they had, like, a good heart-to-heart moment earlier in the movie, there was, like... And the wife had a couple moments, but, like, really, for the most part, I was like... he could have just been by himself on this vacation, and it wouldn't have mattered. Like, they're irrelevant. Two of the children literally give nothing to the plot.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have some good moments towards the end. But yeah, no, I was whatever.
I do find it funny how they're like, oh man, if only we had like a yard worth of more sail. And Jack's like, he's just like, I have an idea. Just takes his pants off.
Yeah. Yep. I do actually appreciate too that they in order for him to get one of the advantages in sailing, they used some information from his time at as an air traffic controller.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated it. That was like a nice little detail. They were like, oh, this guy, you know, he recognizes wind currents by the way the planes are flying and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, there's something there that we can use. That was cool. Everything else was stupid, though.
And that's why, to Sam's point earlier, I think it would have been nice if they showed more of him at work before, like, the blow up. Yeah. Where we could see that he is really good at his job.
Right. I mean, he worked there for 15 years without any sort of vacation or time off. So, like, he had to be good at it. But, like, yeah, we should have seen a little bit more of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys. The whole sailing race at the end was, for me, mostly very boring.
Yeah.
And I think it's because sailing is very boring.
Yeah.
And they tried to make it interesting with quick cuts and, like, whatever, but I was just like, man, they are going like 5 miles an hour in that water, and it is not working for me.
Yeah. And you know they have to win at the end. So it's like...
Oh, yeah.
But, like, when watching it, I was like, there's, like, 5 minutes left. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And they're, like, just starting to, like, set sail. And I was like, oh, my. This is going to be a... flash finish.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, all that though, John Candy really carries. I mean, really, he's just great.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he does is perfect in this movie. All right. Anyone got anything else? Or are we ready to move into scores?
I'm good for scores.
I'm good.
All right. Let's talk about our scores. Hell yeah. All right, so first we got the acting score. Who wants to kick us off there?
I'll go. I gave it 3 out of 5, mostly because you kind of hint on. I thought John Candy was the best. Some fun side characters here and there, but I feel like a lot of it was just kind of unmemorable. And there's a lot of characters who they showed and I just could not get invested in, kind of like his family. If they had a bit more like subplots to them, it could have been more interesting, but no, they didn't do much.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a 4, but a lot of that is carried by John Candy because he's great. I think Rip Torn as Scully is great. Al Pellet's a pretty solid villain. So like the trifecta of those three, I enjoyed enough, and the rest of the people really didn't weigh me down a ton. Like they just weren't as big a part of the movie to really like do anything other than like make me like Karen Austin as the wife. She was believable as his wife, and that's all I needed. I didn't need anything else. So I like the acting was the best part of the movie, I think, for me.
Yeah, I agree. I also gave this a 3 out of 5. Again, mainly because of John Candy. However, I don't think this was John Candy's best performance, and anywhere near close, honestly. I know a couple lines and a couple things. I'm like, oh, this is not really good. Like, I'd rather watch him in Spaceballs, Uncle Buck, and stuff like that. Hell, I'd probably even rather watch him. He's did a better job in Home Alone for a total of 5 minutes than he did in this movie, I think. But again, it wasn't bad. A couple memorable things, but
yeah. Story concept. What do we think?
I think this is where it lacked the most.
Yeah.
You'd be right.
I didn't really feel invested in the story. It was very, very National Lampoons. That's another one of my notes is that it gives big National Lampoons vibes. So I don't know.
Yeah. There's.
No, I mean you're on point. I mean it like I said earlier, it goes from vacation movie to sailing movie, and they needed to just pick one and stick to it. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
At least intertwined.
I give it a 2 out of 5.
A 2 out of 5. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I just forgot to say that.
That's all right. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. I was not impressed.
Yeah, I'm at a 2 out of 5. Again, they could have weaved it better, but the whole like just there's no plot really. It's just like watch this family and like the shenanigans that happen. That doesn't really do it for me. I like a good narrative.
That's the thing. That's why I think National Lampoons is so much better, because they actually expand on the family and actual the plot. So
well, it helps too that that's like a series of movies. So like
that's true.
By like the third movie, you know these characters well and good. But yeah, even like in movie 1, I think they're still more compelling than they are here.
Yeah. And something that I think we touched on a little bit too, this movie is so predictable, like beat for beat, really. You kind of knew where it was going as soon as it was going. So that didn't really help it at all. All right, next we got the visuals. Connor, why don't you kick us off there?
I thought they're fine. Again, nothing too crazy, like in terms of editing or crazy shots. I did like one of the best parts of the sailing was just kind of like how they shot it. Like wasn't everything wasn't just on the boat. You could see like where they were in relation to everyone. But it's pretty standard movie for the 80s, I would say. Nothing too crazy. I'll give it 2.5. Perfectly average.
Yeah, I went with a 3.5 because I liked a lot of the locations that they shot on as well. It was very summery. Like they if they did anything well, they really nailed the summer vibes of the movie. Like they really hammered in on like they're at the beach, they're on a boat, they're sailing. The sailing shots were really fun. And it just felt like summer, which was really, I mean, obviously it's in the name, but that's something that they were really going for. And I thought they succeeded at doing that. So I gave it a 3.5. But like you said, they didn't do anything special. The editing wasn't overly, anything. I just think that the settings and some of the shots were able to bring it up a little bit.
Yeah, again, I agree with both of you. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. Rick dab smack in the middle. Just again, nothing special. I really enjoyed some of the like the sunset with the boat in the foreground, kind of like that. I really enjoyed those kind of shots. I guess this could probably tie into the visuals and the writing, but a lot of the beach scenes where it's like just a packed beach, and when he's like walking through and like dripping water on everybody like that.
Yeah.
I think that kind of like shows like in the prime tourist season on those kind of public beaches. So
Yep.
yeah, 2 out of 5 out of 5.
2 out of 5 out of 5.
All right. 2 out of 5 out of 5. All right, and then that's gonna bring us to our writing category. Sam, why don't you kick us off here?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I think it was above average, so I gave it a 3 out of 5. A lot of the jokes were good. Again, a lot of them didn't hit like I wanted them to. I think the thing that brings it above average is those couple scenes with Jack and his son, like him teaching him how to sail, or with him sailing. Kind of like there was a couple things of just good like family connection, kind of like, I'm not sure how to explain it, but
No, yeah, there was some good serious emotional beats to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just all like comedy slapstick, haha.
yeah, there was a lot of scenes, and I think the youngest child, I think there was a couple of things that she had, one-liners that she had, like when they first went to Barnacles, she's like, "This place sucks," and they're like, "I didn't teach her that word."
No, I mean, I think you're right. I a little bit more average on it. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. It was, I mean, there were good jokes, there were bad jokes, there were, good emotional beats, but also there were just scenarios that didn't need to be in the script. It just felt like if you had like a baseline where this movie, it's not deterred by its writing, but it's not like improved by it at all, I think this would be it. Like, it's funny at times, it's serious at times, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just feels very middle of the road, so I gave it a 2.5.
And I'm right there with you. I think when it hits, it hits. When it misses, it definitely misses. I know I put in my notes too. Like, I'm not sure how funny this movie is. Just, but like the parts that were funny to me, like made me laugh, not just like a huh.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think all the characters were like fine. I think it's just like a perfectly average script.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. All right, so that's going to bring us to our overall enjoyment score. This is going to be our final score for the movie. So what do you guys got?
I went kind of like in line with my scores, 2.5. Right down the middle. I think it's like a perfectly fine movie. I feel like if I had grown up on this, I might like it more, but seeing it for the first time now, it was kind of like, I see it, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not really for me.
There's better movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you can. Do you want to go? Or do you want
No,
to
go.
Okay.
Go.
God
damn it, go! It's my lobster!
I want to go! I'm a huge John Candy fan. I love him in most of his movies that he's in. So I was really excited to watch this movie because I thought it was going to be really funny compared to like Spaceballs and Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, stuff like that. A little bit disappointed that it wasn't up to that par.
Sorry, I really wish the name for that movie was Planes, Trains, and stuff like that. That would have been such a good name. All right, continue. Sorry.
So I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't up to par with those kind of movies. But again, it was an average comedy movie, So on Letterboxd, they gave us a 2.5 for the sake of the difference in our list. I'm going to get a 2.55.
Yes! 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 So, for me, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. It's perfectly average comedy. It doesn't try to do anything overly special. It doesn't take a lot of risks. It loses focus in a few areas. I think the sailing theme is kind of unnecessary. But it's average. I mean, at the very least, you get to see John Candy really ham it up and do his thing. It really just felt like they had like a basic overview of what they wanted to have happen, and they just put the camera in front of him and said, all right, John, do your thing, and we'll figure it out as we go. Mm-hmm. And I can always get behind something like that. This isn't a movie that I'm going to want to like instantly rewatch, but, you know, I could see myself going back to it if I'm in a John Candy mood and I've already seen, you know, The Great Outdoors and Uncle Buck and Spaceballs and Planes, Trains and stuff like that. So when you add up all of my scores, when you average it out, that gives me a 2.875 for my score. And Connor, you can't complain. You can't complain. You cannot complain because it's an average of my scores. Connor threw his headset. His headphones went flying.
I'm on the bandwagon now.
You can't get mad, though, at my score because it's an average of all of my other scores.
I can get
average it
I
out.
can get mad at
It's
whatever
just
I
math.
want. I am my own person. I will say I'm more upset with Sam's.
Oh no! Whoa! What happened to our list here? I'm just gonna get rid of these right there. I know. All right, so when you add all that up, that puts this movie at number 18 on our list out of 22. So with an average score of 2.64, which is just a touch below Star Wars The Phantom Menace at a 2.67, and just above Kung Fu Panda 4 with a flat 2.5
Do you see
average.
how beautiful that Kung Fu Panda score is? 2.5s across the board.
Across the board. And then look at Nightmare on Elm Street 2 below it.
1.5
1.5
across
the board.
And then Friday the 13th is threes.
There's threes across the board. And then we got some wacky ones. But look, I mean, you know, if you don't have the variation, you can't know for sure which movies are better and which movies are worse. That's why we have it. But yeah, so that puts it, like I said, right at number 18. And so next week we will be watching to kind of close out our first month of the Summer of Fun. I know we've got 2 more releases in June. We're going to be watching next week Corvette Summer starring Mark Hamill, which I'm super excited about. And then, per request from a certain member on this podcast, we'll be watching Muppets Treasure Island.
Let's go, baby.
To finish out June as we head into Shark Month.
Yeah. I'm glad Sam pioneered for it. I love the Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
well, I feel like gives a little summer vibe, but also leads into the sea and the sharks and stuff. So.
Yeah. I like it. So yeah, stay tuned for those episodes. And if you like what you heard today, leave a rating, subscribe, listen on your, favorite, share it, follow us on your favorite podcast platform, all that fun stuff. You can follow our Letterboxd accounts. Those will be linked in the show notes so you can kind of keep up to date what we've been watching before each podcast episode comes out. Go to our website, pressplaymag.com, for reviews of all the new movies coming out this year and our backlog of reviews over the past year and a half now almost. So yeah, you can check that out. Oh yeah, follow us on Twitter at FilmboxPod. You can follow me on Letterboxd or on Twitter and on TikTok. That's the social media platform I was looking for. I'm doing my Letterboxd top 250. I recently saw Amour. I gotta watch Boogie Nights now for my top 250 journey. So you can check those out on those will all be linked as well. And yeah, without further ado, Connor, do you have movies for us?
I do.
All right.
Gentlemen, 1 through 5.
I'm gonna go with 6 today. I'm just kidding.
All right, goodbye, everyone.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with 5.
I'm gonna go with 3.52.
I'm careful. He's gonna quit.
I'll go with just give me 4.
All right, we're watching Paris, Texas, and Shoplifters.
All right.
No fanfare
We'll see you
there.
next time.
Peace.
Fair wins.